great thing for a guy who was really under pressure just a couple of years ago. What about the parents now who have here? Pete Carlissimo has been great as far as basketball in New York.
Of course, alongside Lucy, the lady behind the men. He's been involved in sports all his life, and of course, he's so proud of his son because he's overcome so many obstacles.
On the other hand, you have Tark the Shark. They call Jerry Tarkanian out west one of the great winning percentage coaches of all time.
Well, you can see why people in Las Vegas love him. He's charming. He's the kind of guy you enjoy being around. Of course, he's had such great success. That draws people to you.
It sure does, and of course, he's a colorful, interesting guy, and if you want to see what kind of fun they have in Las Vegas, get a load of this.
Final four. One more time, UNLV is going to kick behind Oklahoma and LSU. This year, we're going to target you too. Target you.
It's kind of bizarre, I'll have to admit that. But also, Lois is here, his lovely wife, and of course, she's the lady behind the guy.
Well, Jerry keeps saying you need some luck. You might need some divine assistance as well, and she's prepared.
That's the coaching matchup today, and a good look at them and behind the scenes and what kind of personality they have. Coming up, UNLV and Seton Hall here in Denver. Right now, let's send you back to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, Dick Stockton, Jerry Tarkanian hoping for a little string music out of his running Rebels today. Michigan is in the Final Four and will play the winner of the Illinois-Syracuse Midwest Final tomorrow afternoon. That Midwest Final between the Illini and the Orangemen. We're going to come back and talk with Billy Packer, who has arrived here at our studios in New York. We'll talk about the tournament as we continue on the road to the Final Four after this. All right, 102-65 was the final, a 37-point thumping of Virginia put on by the Michigan Wolverines, who are now headed to Seattle and the Final Four. And our basketball expert, Billy Packer, preparing for the game tomorrow at the Meadowlands between Duke and Georgetown. Billy, you were watching this game this afternoon. Your thoughts on it?
Well, I went back 10 years ago. You know, an undefeated coach took a team to the Final Four 10 years ago. Bill Hodges took Indiana State. He was an interim at the time, but he had not lost a game going into the Final Four. So I know what that feels like, and that was 10 years ago.
Did Steve Fisher get the job with this victory?
Well, I think Bo's in a very difficult spot right now because that's a job that every coach in America would covet, or mostly every coach in America would covet. He probably has got his pick of a litter of guys who would like it, but I'd have to think right now. He talked about loyalty, and Fisher certainly has provided that for him.
I was about to ask, what other difficult circumstances could a coach be put in and prove himself so well?
I think two things that came out of the games that I watched, the North Carolina game and the game today. I think, number one, the Michigan players like playing for him, and that's not a knock on Bill Frieder. And the other thing is, in the North Carolina game, I noticed something about this Michigan team I had not seen in a big game in a long, long time, is that they would not be denied. When that game was going 2 points, you know, 1, 2, back and forth, they were there to play, and I was very impressed with that. They've always been talented, and I think now they're playing with a lot of emotion and energy.
They put it all together. Billy, thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
Duke and Georgetown, our late game tomorrow afternoon, and we'll continue on the road to the Final Four in just a moment.
You can save 10 to 38% on AT&T long distance. Call us, 1-800-222-0400.
A big game and a big meal, and Coach Rollie Massimino feels worse than he looks. So he reaches for Rolaids. For millions, nothing works better for acid indigestion. So at least Rollie feels better. Relief, you know how to spell it.
That 37-point win by Michigan, the largest score in a regional final since UCLA sank Santa Clara by 38 in 1969. Another battle for Seattle on the line in the West. UNLV and Seton Hall coming up after this word from your local station.
V doesn't want you buying their cross trainers. And neither does the boss.
If this is the only kind of basketball you want to play, Avila doesn't want you buying their shoes.
There is plenty at stake here in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado, the site of the NCAA Western Regional Final about to unfold. And the fans making their way into McNichols Arena are anticipating a terrific ball game this afternoon. Michigan has already won the right to go to Seattle. They're in the Final Four and will fit in the second piece of that puzzle as the UNLV Runnin' Rebels take on the Seton Hall Pirates. Good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton along with Bill Raftery, and UNLV against Seton Hall. When this region began, this is an unlikely matchup. It's Big East against Big West. It's the experience and the strength of Seton Hall under bright young P.J. Carlissimo. It's the quickness and youth of UNLV and the eternal coach Jerry Tarkanian. But Bill Raftery, all eyes are on Greg Anthony, the point guard of UNLV, who was injured and was listed as doubtful, questionable, and with a sprained ankle and knee, he is going to start for the Rebels. Good news for them.
Well, Tark has always been known for his man-to-man defense, and it starts with this young man out top. He has to stop all the penetration. He needs full mobility to do it.
Bill, picking out 1 point on each club, what would you say is going to be key for us to watch in this one?
I think Vegas is going to have to run the floor very well. Get the big legs going for Seton Hall. I think that's key, as well as making those three-point shots. David Butler feels he can outrun Ramon Ramos. And, of course, countering that, Seton Hall, I believe, feels they're better inside. They're going to have to punish Butler and whoever else on the front line for Vegas by turning the corner and getting it down low.
UNLV trying to get to the Final Four for the third time. Seton Hall has never been to the Final Eight. Good game coming up, and we'll be back with the starting lineups for today's regional final in just a moment.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Final game from Denver, Colorado is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. And by Michelob. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob.
McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado, and the West Regional Final. UNLV coming in with a record of 29-7, and the Seton Hall Pirates 29-6 on the year. Seton Hall seeded number 3, and UNLV is seeded number 4. And right now, for the introduction of the starting lineups for today's game, let's go to our public address announcer, Alan Cass.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado for today's West Regional Final game between the UNLV Runnin' Rebels and the Seton Hall Pirates. And now let's meet the starting lineups. For UNLV at 4, the 6'7" sophomore from Pasadena, California, number 32, Stacy Ogman. For Seton Hall at 4, the 6'7" junior from Melbourne, Australia, number 10, Andrew Gaze. For UNLV at 4, the 6'7" junior from Brooklyn, New York, number 35, Moses Scurry. For Seton Hall at 4, the 6'8" senior from New York, New York, number 24, Darrell Walker. For UNLV at center, a 6'10" junior from Washington, D.C., number 00, David Butler. For Seton Hall at center, a 6'8" senior from Canóvanas, Puerto Rico, number 25, Ramon Ramos. For UNLV at guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada, number 50, Greg Anthony. For Seton Hall at guard, a 6'1" senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 15, Gerald Green. For UNLV at guard, a 6'1" freshman from Detroit, Michigan, number 12, Anderson Hunt. For Seton Hall at guard, a 6'3" senior from the Bronx, New York, number 23, John Morton. And introducing the head coaches for UNLV in his 16th season, Jerry Tarkanian. For Seton Hall in his 6th season, P.J. Carlissimo.
Looking to get to Seattle in the Final Four, and we'll be back with the opening tip-off in just a moment. Butler and Ramon Ramos underway for the right to go to Seattle in the Final Four. Controlled by Seton Hall, Gerald Green, the point guard. Quickly inside to John Morton. Scurry the rebound, and here comes UNLV looking to up-tempo.
Man-to-man, both ends.
So Greg Anthony wearing a knee brace. David Butler misses the first shot for UNLV. Seton Hall looks like they're up-tempoing.
Well, they'll look for it when the opportunity presents itself, Dick.
Ramos playing at the top right now, and Andrew Gaze hits the first shot, a three. He is their three-point threat and hit 4 of them against Indiana.
As an overview now, Seton Hall's going to have to balance the floor and, of course, go out and play the three-point shooters. On the other end, Vegas don't let the ball change sides of the floor. We'll talk about that on the other end.
Moses Scurry now inside is Anderson Hunt, the hero of the game against Arizona. And the rebound by Ramon Ramos. Ramos inside play was too tough for Indiana to handle in the semifinal victory.
Right here, Vegas letting it turn the floor.
Inside, Darrell Walker with a move and the rebound by Moses Scurry. Scurry and Gerald Green grew up just 4 blocks apart in Brooklyn, New York, and they were friends through elementary school. Now they oppose each other. David Butler misses, but it's kept alive by Scurry. Greg Anthony hits the shot for UNLV, ties the game at 3.
Well, you don't shoot with your foot. He looks pretty spry in warm-ups as well.
Hit the kickball, and we'll have a new clock.
Of course, Dick, Seton Hall, to me, is a better inside patterned offensive team. They'll jam it in, try and get to the free throw line. Jerry feels his club can't let the ball go from one side of the floor to the other because then they'll dump it down.
Gaze in three-point territory, and he's guarded by Stacey Augmon, who did a suffocating job on Sean Elliott in the semifinal against Arizona, despite the fact that Elliott scored 22.
Will he be as psyched up, though? Gaze is not Sean Elliott. He has a tendency to relax against a lesser known.
Ramos outside, Scurry on him. Morton will shoot a 3, off the mark. Loose ball, Darrell Walker inside play on the follow-up. So Seton Hall on the offensive rebound. And Darrell Walker, who's the best interior defensive player, showing what he does on the other end for Seton Hall.
Howie Landa, who prepared the report for Jerry Tarkanian, his assistant was afraid of Walker on the glass.
Quick pass outside. And missing outside is Anderson Hunt. Hunt will be confident if he hits early. If not, maybe it'll go down. Green drives and is fouled.
We talked about rebounding. You've got to screen people off and make sure they go over the top of you. Seton Hall is sound. Position D, of course, no red shirts inside. The pressure on Vegas to make the outside shooting may be too much. They've got to get an inside game going.
David Butler committing the foul for UNLV. It's his first. And he played late in the second half and saw a lot of action. Hampered with 4 personal fouls and did well down the stretch. But here is Gerald Green, senior from Brooklyn, New York, who has turned himself from a shooting guard into a point guard, and maybe for John Morton the other way around.
And you know, they're 36 and 10, Seton Hall, since P.J. Carlissimo put Gerald Green as the point guy and John Morton as the shooting guard.
Seton Hall has won 10 of its last 12. Against non-conference opposition, they're perfect this year, 17-0.
And they're balancing the floor well early.
1 out of 2 for Green. Less than 3 minutes gone by in the opening half. Stacey Augmon working against Gaze. And an offensive foul against Stacey Augmon. Augmon only a sophomore who nonetheless can do some things offensively as well, so Stacey picks up his first.
You're not supposed to know how to do that down under in Australia. Jerry Tarkanian not happy with the call. I wasn't happy either.
Andrew Gaze, of course, from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Gaze, who hit a 3 earlier. Not that time, but there's Walker with the offensive rebound. And they're going to call traveling on Walker. Didn't have control.
That's the screen down. Gaze popped out, didn't make it. Vegas not as into the defense as they were the other night. They've got to pump themselves up.
How do you think Gaze will do defensively against Stacey Augmon?
Well, he doesn't really look. He's become a better shooter. He's not a guy that'll take it to him all the time. I think if he posts him up, he'd be better off.
They isolate Augmon against Gaze. Gaze defended him. Augmon went by and missed the shot. Seton Hall with a semi-break. Morton finds Green on the baseline, and a nice play by Gerald Green. Boy, those two guards, if they can penetrate, will really help dish it off to the big people. And Seton Hall is out to an early 5-point lead. Anthony high off the glass. Butler tried to stuff it through, out of bounds against UNLV. It'll be Seton Hall's ball.
Tark, you see the tie askew. His daughter tried to dress him up a little bit. It isn't working quite the way he would want.
Kind of looks like an all-night poker game, somebody once said, huh?
He always looks disheveled, an unmade bed.
Ramos has been playing on the perimeter. Walker has been the chief inside guy. And a foul before the basket. It is on Greg Anthony.
Didn't steal that baseline. Did you notice Gerald Green holding off twice now as he went to the goal?
That is the 13th foul against the Rebels. Seton Hall has yet to pick up a team foul. And Andrew Gaze will inbound. Pirates were picked to finish 7th in the Big East, wound up 2nd in the regular season in that tough conference. Darryl Walker twice has missed inside shots. There's the alley-oop pass. Stacey Augmon from Greg Anthony, worked to perfection.
Well, the philosophy of Jerry Tarkanian is to keep going at you. That time, Seton Hall relaxed. Gaze did not take the legs away.
Interesting enough, the Rebels have not used much of that kind of play, and now a double dribble. Here's another look at one of the prettiest plays in basketball.
Well, Dick, you and I couldn't run the floor like this nor get up as athletically and catch it and finish it off. He had some dunk the other night. You'll see the legs not taken away. Gaze too late with too little.
UNLV trailing by 3. David Butler. There's Greg Anthony. This is the rebound, knocked away. Augmon got it off of Walker and comes in and scores. So Stacey Augmon now has 4 of the Rebels' 7 points.
Stacey put it on the floor pretty good a moment ago. Augmon around Gaze. Andrew's going to have to buckle up.
Green looking inside. Tight pressure, man-to-man by UNLV, but beating into the basket is Darryl Walker.
The philosophy of three-quartering by Vegas, not paying off. They're going right to the goal.
David Butler gets the roll. David Butler has been the leading scorer for the Rebels in this NCAA tournament. And it's a 10-9 game. Winding down, 15 minutes to go in the first half. John Morton misses a 3. The rebound by Scurry. That is his 5th rebound of this first half.
Good run again.
Anthony finds Butler, and Butler is fouled. So in the early going, would you say that UNLV is playing the way they want to play as far as getting the big people down?
Seton Hall has been doing a good job getting back, but twice now they've given up goals by not getting back. It's an annoying effect, just like a press. If you don't get back all the time, Vegas will punish you.
Ramon Ramos picks up the first foul. And our first substitution is Michael Cooper, a 6'5" junior from Atlanta. He'll come in along with Anthony Avent. Great bench for Seton Hall, keeps them fresh, and they pound the board. Ramos and John Morton go out, and David Butler is on the line. According to Jerry Tarkanian, only 200 pounds, but he says very strong and has really emerged in this tournament.
And outspoken. He said he intimidates guards by giving them those nasty fouls. Said Seton Hall can't run with us, and the Clark turns to him and said, hey, relax a little. Don't give them anything added.
Unexpected candor from the junior from Washington, D.C. Trying to break the tie, UNLV has the first lead of the game with just under 15 minutes to go in the first half. The Western Regional Final just getting started.
This side we have Morton, who penetrates and dumps it in, leading right to the basket. The ability to penetrate a little bit, the catchable bounce pass, and of course the finish. The help too late for Vegas. They're going to have to do a better job.
Seton Hall trailing by 1 now. Green is being harassed by Anderson Hunt.
Much better job than I.
And Anthony Avent trapped in the corner. Here's UNLV, and Greg Anthony travels before he goes up with a shot.
And the defense did that. The balance getting back. His mobility not too bad, believe it or not. The man
Jerry Tarkanian told yesterday that he learned at Long Beach State not to restrict players. At one time he did. He says if you have good players, let them play, and that's what he's done at UNLV.
Maybe I should have gone to play for him. Just tee it up early in the morning.
Gaze is being guarded here by Stacey Augman. I think Augman is as prime for Gaze as he was for Elliott. Cooper inside, deflected away by Butler, and the possession arrow is going to favor UNLV here.
The body by Cooper. Moses Scurry, maybe the toughest guy. You mentioned he and Green from the same neighborhood. I asked him, what did you say to Green? He said, I didn't say anything. He said, they're ready for us. A little neighborhood squabble.
The last 2 minutes, UNLV trailing early, as they did against Arizona. They were down by 8 points early on and came back.
Well, their constant is their defense. They just have to worry at this end of the floor.
Tarkanian is going to come in with some reserve help in a moment. Nearly 6 minutes going by, and a foul against Cooper of Seton Hall.
Well, this particular foul negates good defense, Dick. You've got a guy taking away that dip in the 3-second lane, trying to lead the man in. And if it's called against him, it impacts on the coaching.
Clint Rossum, the only senior, number 22, on the squad for UNLV, will replace Anderson Hunt. Moses Scurry goes out, and George Ackles, who is an outstanding shot blocker and has been a starter for most of the year, a 6'10 junior from Pittsburgh. He's a quite active performer up front, Ackles. And Rossum, very steady. He can hit the long shot. He's a senior from Las Vegas.
Nice play by Gaze on the inbounds. Heads up on the loop.
This is a defensive battle, make no mistake about it. Two pressure man-to-mans for both sides. Green lost it out of bounds, and you can credit Rossum with giving him pressure there.
And that high dribble, Gerald Green occasionally, he loves to bounce it up near his arm, hits, and occasionally he'll have it stripped or misdribble.
Both teams going to their bench early. Ackles is trying to post up against Darrell Walker. One-on-one outside, Augman against Cooper.
Good job defensively inside.
Rossum misses a three, the rebound by Gaze. Being chased by three Rebels, Gaze tries to draw the foul, and he does. Good play, alert play by Andrew Gaze. Don't be fooled by the fact that he's a three-point shooter. He has a terrific sense of basketball, and they say that down in Australia, he's the equivalent of Larry Bird.
He doesn't have to worry about making the Olympic team in the 100-yard dash, though. As he bounced himself up, I thought he might get stripped from the rear.
Ramos is back in for Seton Hall, and Anthony Aben checks out. And here's Andrew Gaze. He was the second leading scorer in the Seoul Olympics behind the great Oscar Schmidt of Brazil.
Of course, out here all week, all the Seton Hall people were saying to him, would you like a shrimp on the Barbie? He's so tired of hearing that. But he really knows the game. As we mentioned the other night, Pete Newell says he's got a great feel.
Probably tired of hearing good day, too, I'm sure.
Mate.
One free throw for Gaze, tied at 11. Rossum is looking inside for Butler.
Good help by Walker.
This is not an impatient team, but when they have the threes, they'll shoot them up, the Rebels. Augman inside Ackles. Oh. Basket counts and a foul, and a great move by George Ackles. Using his body.
Right here, great defense inside. You see the top side, the weak side help as well. Leading the man across. The penetration set this up, but Ackles has made this club better. He was made a substitute. He comes in, he knows his role now, and it's really helped Vegas.
Meanwhile, Ramon Ramos has picked up his second personal foul, and he was spotted well by Carlissimo down the stretch in the win over Indiana, and France Volsi will replace him, a 6'8 junior from East Orange, New Jersey. So that is the first significant factor of this game, is early foul trouble by Ramos.
Well, you have to be ready when Vegas is on the foul line. Not a good free throw shooting team.
Meanwhile, UNLV is on a 10-3 run right now, leading 13-11. Under 13 minutes remaining in the first half.
Green.
And they're going to call the foul against Green. Green and Walker were there, and they fouled Ackles. That'll be the fourth team foul against Seton Hall. Each team has 4 fouls.
Now, Gerald Green had lost his man, did the right thing, doubled up, tried to trap the basketball.
John Morton will replace Green. So now a bigger lineup used by P.J. Carlissimo, and in effect Gaze, a forward now moving into the backcourt with Morton.
And that should impact them in a speed situation. Vegas might be able to exploit that.
Guarding Rossum. Now moving to guard, and that's a defensive stance also. Here's Butler. Driving inside and getting the bucket is David Butler. 6 points for Butler. He is the leading scorer of the game, and UNLV has their biggest lead of 5.
Great gather and step to the goal. They got to walk as well on this one. So Vegas pressure defense impacting right now.
Where is Seton Hall having the most problems?
I believe defensively, for example, they're not stopping the penetration. On offense, maybe a little rattled, not composed.
And that's what they said. They told you they had to be against Indiana. They had to be cool in the early moments against the Hoosiers.
They're confident, but Vegas pressure makes you do things you're not accustomed to doing.
Inside, Anthony with a wild shot off the rim. Offensive rebound by Butler. Tipped up again by Ackles. And finally grabbing the rebound is Franz Volsi.
Great job on the glass by Las Vegas.
And hitting the deck is Greg Anthony, and they'll call the foul against Seton Hall.
Morton, I guess, on the reach in.
Yes, John Morton will pick up his first foul. Here's how it happened.
Volsi now trying to protect the ball. Good step in. We talked about the defense on the ball, not bad, like Greg Anthony preventing the pass back.
You're surprised at how UNLV has really more than held their own inside.
Not at all, because they're a very good offensive free. Here's Green, I believe, on the graph. Very good inside team when they get the ball down low.
That'll be the second foul on Green, and all of a sudden Seton Hall has 16 fouls. DJ Carlissimo, who used to share the practice gym with the women's team in the early going, and you remember that when you were
sure
coaching.
do. They were a little better than we were most evenings, unfortunately.
I think the increased budget might have helped too.
He's done a great job working hard, recruiting.
There's Stacey Austin missing outside, and it's last touched by the Rebels. So Seton Hall will take over. Pookie Wigington, the 5'4" senior from Inglewood, California, spark plug off the bench, comes in as the point guard, replacing Gerald Green, and Anderson Hunt, whose three-point basket with 4 seconds to go beat Arizona, returns to the game for the Rebels. Meanwhile, the Pirates have not scored a basket in just under 4 minutes.
You notice the back cut, not a good pass.
Shot put up there by Morton, tipped away. And we'll have a UNLV foul on Ackles. 15 foul against the Rebels, who are trying to get to the Final Four for the 3rd time. They got there in 1979 and 2 years ago. They won the West Regional to get there both times.
Tark, of course, struggling this year, not knowing the uncertainty of his situation as a coach with the NCAA investigating. But I just think the players have regrouped, played much better defense, and I just think recognition. They get the ball to the right person.
Earlier today, Michigan swamped Virginia to make their first trip to the Final Four since the 70s. Barry Young, who's an outstanding shooter, maybe the best on the Rebel squad, has replaced Stacey Augmon, who goes out having scored 4 points. So here's Walker, who's getting a lot of support from his family and friends from the Douglas Recreational Center in Harlem on Columbus Avenue, and you know they're watching, sitting around that set today.
As well as the All Hallows people.
1 out of 2, but Colson outing the boards misses. Again, like in the Indiana game, Seton Hall has had opportunities on those second shots.
Getting good shots. That's one thing you look for as a coach. Where are we getting the shots from?
Here is Young. Hunt. Inside Ackles. Here's Hunt. In and out. The rebound, Butler. David Butler with 8 points.
Good inside offensive position by UNLV. Seton Hall not doing a good job checking out.
Both Wigington and Morton in the backcourt. It's Volti, Gaze, and Walker up front. Walker, good pass to Wigington. UNLV so quick to pick out the guard.
And they also help out. If the man breaks down, they assist from the rear well.
Gaze finds Walker. Good position for Darrell Walker. And he gets the bucket.
That's the dip in. Little play where they step in the lane. Vegas pretty good at denying it. Not that time.
7 now for Darrell Walker. Feed inside to Barry Young. The rebound by Walker. Walker has had 10 rebounds, I should say, in each of the last 2 tournament games. Morton misses a 3, kicked out of bounds, and they'll give it over to the Rebels.
Well, anytime you've got your big people close to the basket, and that's where Jerry deploys them. Tarkanian likes them close for the follows, and they've been doing an excellent job on that end.
Anthony Abbott, sophomore from Newark, has returned to the game. Right now for UNLV, Hunt brings the ball up. They have Rossum as well in the backcourt, the senior. Barry Young, Moses Scurry, and of course in the middle, Ackles.
Rossum is now the shooting guard. Hunt has to run things.
They want that off guard to shoot. They demand that he shoot.
Yeah, and Young, of course, is the other guy. They have 3 guns. What a way to play. That opportunity to freelance when you choose.
Here is Hunt going for 3, and he has missed 2 perimeter shots thus far. It's Seton Hall down by 3, trying to cut the lead by the Rebels with 9:24 remaining in the first half. Dick Stockton and Bill Raftery here in Denver. Gaze is short. Here's Hunt. Chance for a fast break for UNLV. Hunt all the way. Nice play off the glass, and he had to get it high over Anthony Abbott.
And how alert was he? He knew he had Pookie Wigington. He could bring him as low as he would like.
5-point lead by the Rebels matches their biggest of this first half.
Moses working hard. Scurry in the low post on Walker.
Wigington trying to work against Hunt. He's only 5'4".
Good job here.
Abbott, try to get it to Abbott, and here's Moses Scurry for the jam.
Nobody replaced for Seton Hall, Dick. Great defense by Las Vegas. They couldn't reverse the ball, and it cost Seton Hall.
And it's a 7-point lead and a timeout called by Seton Hall.
You know, the other day my MCI rep called me up. Says he'd like to stop by with some new ideas. I think my long distance gets complicated again. Then he shows me how I've outgrown my current MCI service. And with a couple of changes, I can have more efficient, more economical long distance. I couldn't believe it. This MCI guy called me up to lower them.
This is Dick Stockton and Bill Raftery here at the West Regional Final at McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado. UNLV leading Seton Hall 21-14 because of great defense and turnovers like this.
Don't let the ball reverse the floor. They got him stuck. Nobody helped out. They had a big lineup in and not very good recognition. Of course, Scurry with the finish.
Scurry with the flurry. Gaze inside. Anthony Abbott, basket good and a foul, and that should rejuvenate the Seton Hall Pirates with 8:25 to go in the first half. In the last 2 games, Seton Hall's defense had limited their opposition to 39% from the field. That's great. The Rebels are shooting 44, but the Pirates are just about 30, so they're not getting the shots. Again, the defense.
Well, you can see this high level of play where when Green went out, Seton Hall got a little bit rattled. He's back in with Morton. The starting 2 guards, they got it right down low to the big guy who finishes it off for 3.
Abbott with the 3-point conversion. Anthony, by the way, picked up his 2nd personal foul. Ramos has been on the bench for Seton Hall with 2 fouls. Carlissimo has to be very careful making sure he doesn't pick up 3 in his first half.
Good cut.
Barry Young had the ball knocked away by Gaze, but it was on the line. So it'll be UNLV ball despite great hustle by the Pirate defense as David Butler, the big guy who has 8 points, returns to the game along with Stacey Augman.
There are detractors about Tark's offensive philosophy. That was a set play with a back screen. It worked beautifully. Gaze just negated the trip with good hands.
Gaze is on Augman. You know that Augman, the best defensive player, earned an Olympic berth because of it. No foul on that one.
Good not call.
Not quite. Anthony making up his mind whether to go for the 3. Morton playing close.
Well, he loves to play offense. As the point guard, Tark has taken that away from him.
Butler.
Silly foul
by Anthony Abbott, and that is the 17th foul against Seton Hall. They are over the limit, and UNLV is in the bonus, and they'll shoot 1 and 1. Seton Hall coming into this game 9 and 1 on neutral courts this year, and UNLV not that much behind at 8 and 1. So these teams have known how to win away from friendly confines.
They respond to him. I asked Gaze as we look at Ramos how he was affected by PJ in practice. He's rather vociferous. He said he's not quite like my father, who was his coach back in Australia.
Butler threw it up hard off the glass. So Seton Hall down by 4. 7:35 to go in the first half. Michigan is already in the Final Four derby.
Good job. Greg Anthony all over Morton.
Green being watched by Anderson Hunt. Here's Darrell Walker. Great move inside, and great because he took steps.
That old hop. You can't get away with it. Excellent defense, though, on the ball outside by UNLV.
So the young, quick, and his Hart calls them skinny team. He says, we're skinny, but we are tough, and they've proven that.
He has surprised them. Fullerton, of course, a loss, and then Irvine a loss. Oklahoma loss. Again, the denial.
Gaze, great play. Andrew Gaze with the great court sense, the total team player. Again, Seton Hall with a chance to cut the 4-point deficit.
But all those losses in a row, and Vegas felt they work hard, they're going to come back, and they have.
Anthony Abend, who converted on the 3-point situation, hits from the baseline, and he's got 5 off the bench thus far for the Hall.
Tough inside substitutes for Seton Hall.
Volsey and Abend, Cooper, Austin, in and out, going up for the rebound. Moses Scurry, good defense inside by Seton Hall. Morton down court, Abend filling the lane, basket good and a foul.
A false sense of security when you think the other club is not going to run. Inside defense set it up. Vegas gambled at the half-court spot, paid for it. The numbers all Seton Hall. Great recognition by John Morton.
The foul is on Greg. Second on Anderson Hunt, his first. And Anthony Abend going to the line. Abend with 7 points off the bench is the early hero for Seton Hall. He and Darrell Walker have 7. Seton Hall, 8 points in a row. Have regained the lead, 22-21. Andrew Gaze has gone to the bench. Inside Butler, banging inside, and Abend with the rebound. So Michael Cooper replaced Andrew Gaze in the lineup for Seton Hall.
That lob pass is an area where Jerry Tarkanian feels they've improved. That's why they've started to win and gain confidence.
Green penetrating, dish off to Abend. Ackles with the rebound.
Pretty penetration.
Seton Hall has run off 8 in a row. It'll still be UNLV's possession with 6:05 remaining in the first half. Tark trying to squeeze out a win there on the UNLV bench.
Well, with the towel, I spoke to his son, Danny Tarkanian, the real head coach. He said his father is enjoying this year. They've played hard and well.
Anthony for a 3 hit. Greg Anthony has 2 baskets, both from 3-point range, and now UNLV takes over the lead. Make no mistake, this is going to be decided by the defensive team. Cooper, Michael Cooper, who made the hustle play of the game against Indiana, diving for a loose ball on the floor in the semifinal.
And PJ agreed with you. He thought that was the turning point for them.
Butler short on the fall away, and Anthony Abend with another rebound. Abend with 8 points and 2 rebounds, and the rebounding total is at even.
He's a little bit tired, too. He's not used to this long a stint on the floor. Ramos being rested with the foul problem. Little delay, Dick. They've done this to milk the clock down.
Arizona and Indiana, the 2 losing teams in the semifinals, both had oxygen on their bench here in the altitude. The 2 teams that didn't both won.
Well, the rarefied air in Jersey, they didn't need it. They're used to it.
Darrell Walker missing inside, but no second chance for Seton Hall as Ackles cleared the board. We're tied now with just under 5 minutes to go in the first half. Hunt misses the rebound. Hunt again goes up and draws the foul. Good hustle by Anderson Hunt, the only freshman in the game.
Well, you're the first guy that knows you've missed. And Anderson Hunt knew he had pulled the string. Great hustle by him. And he was so delighted making that 3-point winner. He had missed a couple of opportunities during the year and had been down on himself.
He was the GOAT in a lot of games, you're right, with some bad passes and bad shots, but he hit that shot even after a little bit of a collision. Lois Tarkanian with the beads.
Of course, my wife used to be in that pose. She knew the outcome. That's why she was wondering what reservations I made for dinner. Oh, that's tough on a coach's wife.
Second personal on Anthony Abend. James Jones has replaced David Butler for UNLV. Jones, a 6'8 junior from Cincinnati, Ohio. And sitting down is Darrell Walker, replaced by Andrew Gaze. Walker with 7 points and 6 rebounds. So here's Hunt. 67% free throw shooter, hits the first. Tell you, she is taking this game very seriously, Bill.
Intense. I wish my players were that intense. We may have accomplished something.
Hunt, the only freshman. Streak shooter is 1 for 7 from the field, can convert only 1 of 2 from the line. But the Rebels lead by 1 with 4:40 remaining in the first half.
Seton Hall really reacted to the missed free throw. You have to be prepared against Vegas.
Fake, and a shot by Cooper is good. Michael Cooper with his second basket. Seton Hall has to depend on their bench on both ends of the floor.
And Vegas keeps pushing it down, but they can't get that quick 3-1. Seton Hall getting back and recognizing.
Augman going in against Gaze with a fine move and a basket by Stacy. He has 6.
That's a great offensive play that may have been called a charge on another occasion, but good use of his body there, Augman.
Gaze finding a move to the hoop. Left-handed shot is good. Hits the deck, no foul, no harm, and Andrew Gaze with 6 points.
And Green helping here on Augman because Gaze was late coming back.
Hunt is short. Ice cold. 1 for nothing on the field, and a collision with Franz Volsi, who's grabbing his knee.
That's one of those plays. Franz got banged and then walked. That's why I always used to like the force out. I mean, a judgment play like that, the quickness to the basketball. Talk about Ackles being a physical guy. He makes good pursuit here. Unfortunately for Seton Hall, Volsi with the turnover.
We've been talking about the altitude here in Colorado, and you'll get a graphic view of how high it is and how low it is at Seton Hall in South Orange. Well, in the last couple of weeks, UNLV players ran the width of the court 7 times in a minute and had 2 practices on Monday and Tuesday. Tarkanian had never done that before and wanted to get them ready for this thing, and it looks like they have worked. They have not looked tired in any of their 2 games.
Not at all. And neither has Seton Hall in a way. Good job checking out again.
Rawson missed the shot. Morton, who has yet to score, dishes off to Gaze, knocked away, and it's going to be Seton Hall's ball. Interesting, Bill, that Ramos is on the bench with foul trouble, hasn't been a factor. Morton has no points, and yet Seton Hall leads by 1.
Proves their depth. That time John Morton didn't acknowledge correctly, almost had a turnover on the break.
Franz Volsi, and Cooper tipped up and in by Volsi. Hall's bench has outscored the Rebel bench 14-2 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Pirates by 3.
Seton Hall trying to make them use the clock a little bit, take Las Vegas out of their rhythm.
Ball deflected inside. Volsi got a piece of that shot by Anthony. Gets the ball back, and stepping on the line is Anthony, Seton Hall's ball.
Great play from the rear, though, the deflection. He just picked a piece of the sideline with the last bounce. Oh, Lenny Wertz right there. Why couldn't you be looking the other way, Lenny?
David Butler in the game. Moses Scurry goes out for the Rebels. Butler with 8 points is the leading scorer for UNLV. Pass by Green, he eludes Volsi in a turnover.
Bad angle, you've got to bring it down and bounce that ball baseline.
Let's check who's in the game right now in the backcourt for UNLV. Clint Rossum and Greg Anthony, and up front it's Moses Scurry, David Butler, and Stacey Augman. Pookie Wigington checks back in, and he is all over Anthony, the point guard. Rossum.
Augman had Gaze down there. Good job regaining position by Andrew.
They're really fighting for position, Gaze and Augman. Anthony missed the shot. Gaze cradles the rebound. Andrew Gaze having a fine start, all-around game, passing, defense, rebounding, and scoring.
He's not rattled. He's been in the Olympics. Played for the Australian Championship. He doesn't know much about the Final Four.
Maybe heading, even though he's a junior, maybe heading back down under after this season.
Big disappointment if that's the case for PJ. Double deflection out should be Vegas. They got it.
Anthony Abbott, who has been a force off the bench with 8 points, replaces Michael Cooper. Seton Hall has Gaze, Walker, Avent, and in the backcourt, Morton and Wigington. Anthony checks out, and Anderson Hunt replaces him. Morton has not scored in the game. He has missed all 5 of his baskets and 3 3-pointers. Gaze on the turnover, took it away from Augman. Augman gets it back momentarily. Scramble, great hustle by Wigington. Here's Morton. And Morton is fouled, and he'll go to the line. Anderson Hunt with his second foul.
Well, when you're built close to the floor, you always have an advantage. Here, Pookie Wigington, the deflection again by Vegas, causing this skirmish, alertly getting rid of it.
That was similar to the play by Cooper the other night in much more tense circumstances in the second half against Indiana. So Morton with a chance to get into the scoring column, shooting 2 shots. He has led Seton Hall in scoring in each of their 3 NCAA tournament games. He's on the board, nicknamed Silk for obvious reasons. Smooth performance.
Some nights he's not as smooth, according to PJ, but I'm amazed and impressed at the Seton Hall bench. The big guy, Ramon Ramos, sitting out, everybody reacting, and of course, PJ able to manipulate as he did against Indiana.
So Ramos hasn't scored. Morton just going for a second point. And yet Seton Hall is in front by 4. Just settled for 1, the rebound by Butler. Volsey replaced Avent in the lineup for the Pirates with 1.5 minutes to go in the first stanza. 31-27, Seton Hall in front. They were up by 5 early, and then UNLV stormed ahead by 7. But the Pirates on a run.
Inside type of offense right now.
Butler gets the fake, and the foul against Franz Volsey.
What you have to like here is Anderson Hunt's job is the point man. Seton Hall with excellent turning, facing the ball, regaining position, denying the low post entry pass. And of course, as the ball is reversed, eventually Hunt dumps it down. That's what Clark wants from the #1 man, the point man.
Nick Katsikis, who is a dangerous outside shooter, a 6'5" junior from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, has checked into the ball game. He knew this was going to be a big defensive battle, and it has been that, but the center of attraction, as you said, is on the inside play. All the scoring, big scoring, has come from the big people.
The numbers, bang it down there, get the big guys in foul problems, and of course, the fatigue factor. Vegas maybe not as deep up front as Seton Hall is.
Anthony Avent, the leading scorer, coming off the bench with 8 for Seton Hall. Walker with 7, and Butler now with 9 points. He is the game-high scorer. 31-28 in favor of Seton Hall. The winner will go on to Seattle, representing the West region in the Final 4.
Once again, the delay, the pop-out, run it down, and then get into their set.
Now 1 minute to go in the first half. Augman is just denying Andrew Gay.
Great job.
And nearly losing the ball is Volsey.
Too close to one another, aren't they?
That was the shortest bounce pass I've ever seen. 17 seconds on the shot clock. And gambling was scurry. Walker got around him, but throws up an air ball. And a great hustle. Saving it is Franz Volsey. Katsikis nails a 3. That was the most unlikely play I've ever
seen. Release.
It's 34-28, and the Pirates have their biggest lead of this first half. And now UNLV playing for the last shot. A 16-9 run by the Pirates have brought them to this point. As the Big East going against the Big West here in the Western Regional Final, and they'll get Wigington for the foul. Michigan defeated Virginia, and a great victory for the Wolverines. They'll play the winner of Illinois-Syracuse. That's coming up tomorrow on CBS. The winner of this game will face the winner of Georgetown and Duke, also scheduled for tomorrow on CBS. Today we will complete half of the final 4 cast. John Morton on the foul, and here's Anderson Hunt on the line.
Of course, Seton Hall has to be alert for the miss. And of course, Vegas now, I feel, will extend the floor, pressure Seton Hall, try and come up with another steal before the half.
Correction, we was Wigington on the foul. And he's been taken out. Morton replacing him. Hunt makes the free throws, 34-30. Now Seton Hall with the final seconds of the half. Morton falls down, loses it to Hunt. Ahead of the field is Rossum. Hunt goes up with it at the buzzer. No good. And that'll do things at the end of the first half with the score, Seton Hall 34, UNLV 30. And CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Final Game is sponsored by MCI. Let us show you how good a long-distance company can be. Sponsored by 7-Up. Cool me down, 7-Up. The good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by Mazda Cars and Trucks, including the all-new Mazda MPV.
It's got to be an encouraging first half for the Seton Hall Pirates of the Big East, who lead UNLV 34-30. And when you consider that between the two of them, Ramon Ramos and John Morton have accounted for 30 points a game for the Pirates, and in the first half they accounted for only 1, and yet the Pirates are up by 4.
I think the obvious answer is the depth, but more importantly, the confidence that P.J. Colosimo has in his bench.
The bench has been a big factor. Let's take a look at some of the statistics. And they've cut out the three-point shooting because of the tight defense, and that's why the shooting is down, although Seton Hall's at 45%. Not a big surprise that UNLV has done so well offensive rebounding. That's one of their strengths. But Seton Hall's bench, you talked about them, and their strength inside have been tough.
Well, they go to the people. They're confident with them. Here you see Franz Volsi coming up short, but another sub, Michael Cooper, with his eyes on the ball, concentrating, finishing it off, and Anthony Avent coming in. Of course, Volsi finished it off. They had 3 people come in off the bench and do a terrific job.
Seton Hall outscores UNLV 17-2 off the bench. Anthony Avent, the leading scorer with 8, was not a starter for the Pirates, and David Butler leads UNLV with 9. So there is a... Boy, that's exactly the way Tark must feel right now. That expression has him right.
Some mornings he may look like that.
Well, as we start out in the second half, the Rebels have scored only 2 baskets in the last 8 minutes and 43 seconds. They've been ice cold, but it'll be Seton Hall's possession. Andrew Gaze begins the second half along with Darrell Walker, and Ramon Ramos is playing with 2 fouls. And in the backcourt, it's John Morton, number 23, and Gerald Green with the ball, number 15. On the man-to-man, Butler is out to meet Walker. Ramos is being guarded by Moses Scurry. Andrew Gaze finds the open man. Green misses. Walker with the offensive rebound.
He's amazing, isn't he, Darrell Walker?
Been boarding tremendously in the tournament, and a good drive and a basket by Gerald Green, and Seton Hall is up by 6. So UNLV has Greg Anthony and Anderson Hunt at guard. Up front, it's Stacey Augman, David Butler, and Moses Scurry. Augman, 32.
The pace, not Tark's pace. They've got to get it going, even on a made ball. Go, push it up the floor.
Seton Hall really denying inside, making it tough for the big people to get possession. Butler, maybe a little bit outside his range. Out of bounds, it's still Rebels ball. UNLV guard shooting is not that impressive in this game. 42% on the year, 19 today, but the guard's really not been a factor. In fact, Seton Hall was 1 for 6 at the half, so that has not been the story.
Both clubs up and playing the 3-point shooters.
Anthony, well, Green really playing him tight.
Excuse me, Dick, inside defense has been excellent. That permits them to play the shooters tough.
Butler gets the roll. 11 points for Butler. He's the game-high scorer. He's been averaging 18 a game in the 3 tournament appearances.
Ramos at the advantage right here.
The rebound by Scurry. Ramos had a good baseline shot. Now UNLV trying to cut the lead some more. Missing a 3 outside is Greg Anthony. And they'll call Seton Hall with a foul.
Moses Scurry, such an animated performer. I said to David Butler, what did you do the first time you heard this? He said he was on my team and he scared me in practice.
Boy, it sounds like they're getting tortured inside. Foul is on Walker, his first.
Well, that'll shake people up. The faint of heart will go back on defense.
Here's Moses Scurry. Keep in mind that since Scurry moved into the starting lineup, the Rebels are a perfect 6-0 when he replaced George Ackles. He's got the bulk, maybe the only one on this team to really bang inside with some of the big people for Seton Hall.
They're skinny but tough, as Tark said and you noted.
So it's a 36-34 game. Gerald Green turns on the burners, and Anderson Hunt sticks with him.
Seton Hall, I think, can go to Ramos with Scurry. A little bit of a disadvantage. Have to be patient.
Steal, Butler. They got two Pirates, and Green steals it back and does a little tightrope on the baseline. So the big guy just couldn't handle it against the sandwich there.
I think if they let him go, he may have drop-kicked it.
Well, the Rebels had a chance on that possession to tie the game. Here's Gaze with a good fake in the corner. Runs into Butler, ties him up, and it's going to be UNLV on the possession arrow.
He doesn't have the blow-by speed, Andrew Gaze. He's got that ability to shoot it, but this particular play, the strip from behind, the deflection, and again, you don't like the big guys in the open floor unless everybody is away from them.
Rebels with a chance to tie it up. UNLV 29-7 on the year. Driving to the hoop, Stacey Austin.
Just make it, Stacey.
Here comes Seton Hall. Gaze leading the way, and Morton slides in. Tipped up and in by Walker.
He's always in the right place.
9 points for Darrell Walker. And he's got 6 rebounds. Maybe not the unsung star of Seton Hall in the tournament. Augman rims the hoop. Rebound by Green. Seton Hall by 4.
Well, he's not pretty. He's just effective night in and night out, Darrell Walker.
Feed inside, and Scurry got Ramos with it.
Tough to get around those broad shoulders. He takes up so much room. Scurry at the disadvantage size and bulk.
That is the first team foul against UNLV. And the first against Moses Scurry from Brooklyn, New York. Ramos steps, knocked away. UNLV has a 4-on-2 break. Augman. Anthony. Hunt had a shot there was way off the mark, and the rebound by Ramos.
The pace is fine, but completing the sequence, Vegas inadequate right now.
Seton Hall clinging to the 38-34 lead. Less than 4 minutes elapsed here in the second half in Denver. Andrew Gaze with a quick three and another basket. Gaze from Melbourne, Australia, and as we said, he's a junior but may not get back next year.
Well, his dad wants him home. They're 0-14 in the league at home. The dad's the coach, and inside post.
And the rebound by Scurry.
Of course, Andrew now, I think he's in a dilemma as whether to go back or stays and join it, but they feel at Seton Hall that he will go home. Of course, the NCAA has to decide whether he is eligible or not.
Deep inside to Walker, who's fouled. Ramos. Gaze, by the way, is 23 years old, and of course on a tour of the Australian team in the United States. That's when P.J. Carlissimo said, how would you like to play for Seton Hall? And of course, he said yes, and they are happy to have him. In fact, the Pirates have 2 Olympic stars, and Andrew Gaze and Ramon Ramos, who was the starting center for the Puerto Rican team. But Gaze, as we said, the second top scorer in the Seoul Olympics. And at 23, it's going to be a tough issue as to whether he's going to be back.
And he fits right in. They have a little nickname for him, Jack, after a hamburger back in Australia. They like him, and he compliments them well.
Walker on the first free throw. Scurry on the bench with 2 fouls. Ramos also sitting. He picked up 2 fouls early in the game. Has yet to score in this contest. He has averaged over 12 a game. 6-point Seton Hall lead.
Right up on the shooters, not giving the perimeter shot.
Butler working against Anthony Abbott. Fine move by David Butler, who, by the way, was the top-rated junior college performer last year out of San Jacinto.
He and Scurry saw a game on TV where the fireworks went off against the Russians, and they decided they wanted to play in Las Vegas.
Loop inside to Abbott from Gaze. Foul against Las Vegas. It'll be their 3rd team foul.
Of course, the offense of David Butler has improved this Vegas club as well. Here, the reverse comes back to the middle. Nice delivery. Uses all the tin effectively.
Butler has 13 points. And he was the leading scorer in the victory over DePaul in the second round with 23. Well, we hope you join us tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 Eastern Time. The road to the Final Four moves along. Jim Nance and James Brown in our New York studios. And then the final 2 semifinal spots for the Final Four in Seattle will be fought 1:50 Eastern Time. It'll be Syracuse against Missouri, and then from East Rutherford, New Jersey, Georgetown and Duke will battle it out for the East Regional Championship. And the East Region winner will go against this winner.
Fortunately, we'll be home in time to see both of them. They're going to be two terrific ball games.
And the Southeast champion, Michigan, will go against the Midwest champion. Anthony Avent makes the free throws, 44-38 Seton Hall. Avent scored 10 points now off the bench for the Pirates.
Vegas to Butler, I think, more often.
Ackles trying to set a screen inside for Hunt. Wide open is Anthony. Three-point basket. You remember UNLV started out ice cold and then started to get hot from three-point range against Arizona.
That shot of Carlissimo upset, but the penetration caused the defense to pinch and then opened up Anthony.
Lead is 3 now for Seton Hall in white. UNLV in the red uniform. Less than 4 minutes elapsed in the second half, and a fine move by John Morton with his first field goal of the game. Coming right back for 3, and a foul, and a hard foul, as Morton really did a number on Anderson Hunt.
You know what that foul was? A hook foul. Carlissimo was mad at Morton, who makes a great individual move here. The drop step, gather, and deliver. He didn't play the shooter the last time. He ran back, was late, and made sure that the 3 didn't go down.
Well, P.J. Carlissimo knows that UNLV is going to quickly race down and look for the 3. That was an example of it in that sequence.
And the big guys had to help Morton then, too. I mean, they were ahead of him. They've got to play that shooter as well.
Anderson Hunt, who's hit only 1 of 9 from the field, connects on this one. Morton, with that replay you showed, the fine move in the basket, but just his first field goal in a game in which he comes in as the leading scorer for Seattle at over 17.
Well, these 2 guards you have to tag, and that's key for Seton Hall in the second half. I also think Butler has to get in the flow for Las Vegas.
Morton getting by Anthony. 46-43. John Morton throws up a wild shot. Avent gets the rebound on the offense. Against 3 red jerseys, Ackles, Butler, and Augman. And UNLV coming back. Good defense inside against Advent by the Rebels.
Absolutely. Well, they're noted for years. They really react to the basketball.
Weakness of UNLV against the strength of Seton Hall. That was a matchup. It hasn't disappointed us. Hunt missed and put in by Butler, who's got 15 points for UNLV.
Now, the coaches from Vegas want them to pressure full court. They're going back to half. They may be a little tired.
Seton Hall's lead, which was 1-7, cut to 1 now. Feed inside, Avent, foul. Good pass inside to Anthony Avent from Green, I believe.
And a nice giveaway, too, after the penetration. They had switched the high post cut, and it left Green all alone. Not a good play by Las Vegas.
Michael Cooper will re-enter the game, and John Morton will go out. So Avent and Green will be the backcourt, and Ramon Ramos, who has yet to score in this game, getting set to come in the game. Here's Avent, who has been maybe the key for Seton Hall in their lead right now, as slim as it is.
Not bad to go to the Pines and get this type of reaction.
He's perfect from the line, 4 for 4. Settle down. Clint Rossum, the senior from Las Vegas, will return to the backcourt. And Anderson Hunt will go out. And you may be right about Hunt. They need him to get more in the flow of the game, and he's been wild from the field.
Streaky. Rossum sound in his play, comes off bumps, but can shoot very well.
Now Rossum was a starter till an ankle injury and is not quite 100%. They need him. 1 out of 2 for Anthony Avent, and Ramon Ramos will replace Avent. Avent has scored 11 points. Ramos has yet to score. So Seton Hall's bench has kept them not only in this game, but with the lead with 13:40 to play in the second half.
Butler down there. Sometimes he's free. The Vegas kids look the other way. They see you, but you're not going to get it.
Jay's out to meet Anthony. with Gaze playing a guard position now, along with Green. That Morton's on the bench.
Ackles will screen for Butler. That's what they do.
Augman. Good defensive sequence for Seton Hall. Rebound, Darrell Walker.
Anytime he can slow Vegas down.
Gaze for three in the corner. Deep. He's got it. Andrew Gaze with his third three-point basket of the game has 12 points to lead the Pirates, who raise their lead to 5. Missing is Rossum inside Butler. And Walker the rebound. So Gaze is outside shooting, and Seton Hall's defense, both interior and exterior.
They really have been physical on the low post. I think Vegas has to be patient and bring it back to Butler.
50-45, Seton Hall.
Tough pass.
Knocked away by Ackles into the hands of Gaze. It kept Ramos offensively way out today for the most part. Here's Gaze with a runner and another one. He's hot. Andrew Gaze, 14 points in the game. He is at 5 of 7 from the field. Butler has it blocked apparently, and here comes more Seton Hall's Green. In the crowd, Cooper, fake, Gaze, he's hot.
Could be Walker, I'm guessing, Dick. Excellent defense, you alluded to it earlier. Stepping up to meet the dribbler. Great dribble move here by Anthony. Gets hung up to drive. But look at the reaction. They all step back up. Don't leave that room. Go play the man. And of course, the guy Gaze now, I think Augman forced him into this. He was physical. This was a show you type of jump shot by Andrew Gaze.
And you're right, the foul was on Darrell Walker, his second personal foul. Pookie Wigington has returned to the game. John Morton also in there, so PJ is going with Wigington and Morton in the backcourt. Up front, it's Walker, Cooper, and Ramos.
More of a perimeter shooting team for Vegas now with Butler out.
Anthony. Wigington with a rebound. 52-45. Seton Hall can open up its biggest lead of the game if they score here. Time remaining, less than 11 and a half in the second half.
Little delay set. Once again, trying to run it down and then get organized.
DJ Carlissimo says the team knows they're good. They're not cocky, but they know they're good. And the rebound on Morton's miss. UNLV. They get back into it, and Anthony is called. No, a blocking foul against Seton Hall. And that was a good call.
An easy guy to run over, isn't he? Even by accident. Pookie, a good call, as you mentioned here. Back it up. You can almost jump over him, I think, with the dribble.
Wigington's foul. Going to bring back Franz Volsi, and Darrell Walker will go out. And for UNLV, they're also making a substitution. Barry Young, the sophomore from Ellicott, Maryland, number 33. Good shooter. He's giving Stacey Augman a breather. Ackles. Volsi keeps it alive for Cooper. Franz Volsi. They come at you at waves, the big people for Seton Hall.
They sure do, and not a good offensive team down low on the blocks for Jerry Tarkanian. Have to do some picks for the guards.
Inside it goes to Volsi, and Seton Hall has its biggest lead, and Jerry Tarkanian is beside himself. Irish by 9. Hunt comes right back. Volsi knocks it into the hands of Wigington. Here's the speed. He's got Cooper. Cooper. And Seton Hall is on a big run here, the most impressive sequence of the game. And a timeout will be called by the Rebels. Here it is. Seton Hall is up by 11 on a 10-0 run here in the Western Regional Final. And Bill, here is Seton Hall's bench in action. Everyone contributing.
Well, Michael Cooper, the little dip in that they've run effectively. Volsi not denied the spot by Scurry. And, of course, the finish. Great reaction here by Pookie Wigington. Spots his partner, Michael Cooper. Again, the depth for P.J. Carlissimo, the real reason they're ahead in this ball game.
They've outscored UNLV's bench 24-2 in the game, 7-0 in the second half. And the Rebels have not scored a basket in 4 minutes. Seton Hall's defense has clamped down in a big way.
And they're running away from David Butler. They got a 5-second call here. They didn't make the penetrating dribble.
Getting down to, well, not quite serious time for Jerry Tarkanian because he still has 10 minutes to go in this game, and there is still plenty of time, but he's got to make a move, and he's going to bring George Ackles off the bench. And now it looks like James Jones.
Seton Hall can afford to be patient and run this set that they run, the screen down, the dip in again.
Great position feed from Gaze, and Volpe is fouled, and that is the 15th foul against UNLV. And for David Butler, that's his 4th. So as is the case against Arizona, he's hampered with 4.
We've both mentioned them being tired now, Vegas, and you show it on defense. They're not denying that shape up in the 3-second lane. They're directly behind the offense.
James Jones has replaced Moses Scurry in the lineup for UNLV. Franz Volpe, native of Haiti, connects on the first free throw. People talk about Seton Hall and their rise, and the recruiting got better, but I think Mark Bryan might have been the key recruit for Carlissimo when he came back.
Best, as the offensive board continues, best player they recruited.
Ramos got the board, as you pointed out. Morton hung in there.
Established himself. Very smart.
Alert. Smart play by Green. Green, basket count, and a foul. Gerald Green with a quick, nifty baseline move, and James Jones commits the foul.
Good control here. The hesitation. You saw the hedge by Butler. The step in, something Vegas does beautifully. They do not get the call. Once again, Green had the idea of either the shot or the dump off.
So now Seton Hall has outscored Jerry Tarkanian's Rebels 13-0 in the big run of the game. And Gerald Green, who's a 75% free throw shooter, will try to make it 14-0 and really make UNLV's assignment awfully tough. He does. So here at McNichols Arena in the NCAA Western Regional Final, Dick Stockton and Bill Raftery reporting, and Seton Hall has scored 14 straight points to open up a 60-45 lead over UNLV in the battle between the Big East and the Big West, and the right to go to the Final Four.
Not enough penetrating moves. Everything's on the perimeter. They've got to go in to the hole.
Rossum is double teamed. Jones on a semi-pick and roll. Anthony hit. Three-point basket by Greg Anthony, who was questionable coming into this game. All of his points have come from three-point range, 4 of them.
Of course, the ability to handle the ball essential with the full court pressure.
Volpe inside, and again, Gerald Green thread the needle.
And Anthony's inability to move.
And it's going to still be UNLV ball, or now a foul called against Andrew Gates.
In here, just beautiful penetration. Green very alert, and of course all you have to do as a big guy is step to the glass.
Foul on Gaze, and he's first, which shows you what kind of a player he is considering how active he is at both ends.
Well, Augman hasn't really taken it to him. He's been able to stay on the floor because of that reason.
Darrell Walker will come in for Ramon Ramos, who still has not scored in this game for Seton Hall.
Now, early in the year, P.J. scouted Villanova, and after the game, P.J., Billy Cunningham, myself went out. He's moving salt and pepper shakers and diagramming plays. And Cunningham said, you know, last year you just sat there and bored everybody. Now you think you're a coach.
Lois Tarkanian, who is really trying to will this for the Rebels. Stacey Augman will try again from the line. He has 6 points in the game and has not yet scored in the second half. He misses both. You wonder whether Augman may be a little exhausted from the Sean Elliott defensive battle on Thursday.
That was a high in his life, too. He reached back.
62-48, Seton Hall in front with 8.5 minutes to go in the Western Regional Final.
Don't forget, Evansville made a run back.
Gaze with a great move. What a slice move by Gaze. He's got 16, and you're right. Seton Hall had a 19-point lead that was cut to 1.
So it's never over at this level.
Especially when you have people that can connect threes if they get hot.
Threes, and I just think they've got to go straight to the goal a little bit more.
Anthony.
Or do that.
Greg Anthony has 5 3-point baskets to account for his 15 points. But Seton Hall is up by 13.
This is where he's having his problems. Greg Anthony, great on the dribble, struggling right now.
Shot inside by Morton is tipped up and in. Darrell Walker with 12. Anthony comes back and misses. Do you think Anthony's ankle and knee problems have affected him defensively?
Yes, absolutely. Green able to beat his man occasionally. He's on Morton. They're able to turn the corner on him. That doesn't happen when he is healthy.
Loose ball into the hands of Greg Anthony. Against two Pirates, blocked by Franz Volsi. Big play by Volsi.
And look at the heads-up play here by Gerald Green. Tark, who relates straight to his players, and that's why they win. Really chagrined at that last block in the overall play right now.
Morton goes right around Butler and is hit by James Jones. But I'll tell you, where was UNLV's defense? They were standing around, and they let him go all the way around.
Tired. They emptied the backside. Of course, the other end of the floor. Anthony really trying to show his heart and ability here. Takes it strong. Outside was Green. Inside, Volsi from the bench.
Stacey Cunningham, a 6'3" junior guard from Oxnard, California. Number 5 has replaced Stacey Augmon, and I think that Augmon's fatigue.
This is a great competitor right here, huh? Stacey Stojanovic into the game screaming.
He's the guy that settles him down. He still hasn't quieted out. Morton with the free throw. He has only 4 points in this game. Ramos has not scored, and it's yet a 67-51 game, 16-point lead.
Well, PJ says he has 4 or 5 guys that can win it or take the big shot for him. Tonight, Ramos absent. Everybody else stepping up.
Under 7 minutes to go. Stojanovic did not play in the victory over Arizona.
When you live by the 3 and that's taken away, it's a situation where you have to create on your own and you don't have that ability.
Traveling against Stojanovic. Turn it over to Seton Hall. 6:46 to go, and while this was a tug of war early on, Seton Hall had a 4-point lead at the half. They started right before half when UNLV started missing their shots that the fatigue factor has taken over. And because of the Seton Hall bench, they're fresh.
And that will tire you out. Little nickel dimer, but PJ able to rely confidently on the bench. That's more, you can go to your bench if they don't respond.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the NCAA tournament. Of course, the Michigan Wolverines of the Big Ten have advanced already to the Final Four. In the second half here, Seton Hall with a tremendous shooting performance. UNLV struggling. Look at the bench story. That is the story of this game. 27-2. The Pirates have outscored the Rebels. Danny Tarkanian, you were talking about before on the right.
Danny, a lawyer now, his sister alongside, very disappointed. They live and die with their dad, as all kids do. Really knows the game. Great performer for UNLV.
Gaze with a big game. Rebound inside. Cooper, Michael Cooper, and now Seton Hall is battering UNLV at almost every turn.
Quicker to the ball, fresh legs. The big guys ran the floor well.
19-point lead. Butler. And on the arm, a foul. It's called against Franz Volsi.
You've got to be ready on any play in basketball. Cooper from the outside position, quick to it, the strength to get banged and finish it off.
And they've changed it to Stojanovic committing the foul. So that expression tells it all for UNLV, and Tark also has the look.
A little bit of dejection setting in on the Vegas bench.
UNLV is over the limit, and here's Kofi Wigington. Keep in mind, though, that UNLV is a very young team. They have only one sophomore, one freshman on the roster, Clint Rossum, and they've got a very impressive junior college star coming their way in Larry Johnson out of Odessa, Texas, 6'7", fabulous player, and UNLV's better days appear to be ahead. DJ Carlissimo and his loyal parents who were with him through thick and thin.
Amazing story. I was at ball games as young in his career when they lost games, and I think the father said it best. He's a gallant man. He's hung in there under adversity.
Timeout, and UNLV will be left with only one timeout.
Feel your pulse. pounding, your temperature right.
Hot looks, high performance, and a whole lot of driving excitement. That's Pontiac Sunbird.
Yeah, riding Pontiac. Get on your Pontiac and ride. Pontiac ride.
And now, with up to $900 cash back for qualified first-time buyers, Sunbird more than fits your budget. Check it out.
Rebuild excitement.
Seton Hall's defense has been down the stretch against Southwest Missouri State, Evansville, and Indiana. An incredible defensive performance, and again today, they've allowed only 2 baskets in the last 8 minutes. A 25-6 run by the Pirates. They're up by 20 with 6:18 to go.
Extraordinary defense. The graphics tell it all. All the coaches say they wear you down physically.
Wigington to Cooper. 2 more. 27-5 run by Seton Hall. They're up by 22 with 6 minutes to go. Hunt goes in. And they'll call the foul against Franz Bolsey. No.
They got a charge.
Got a charge.
Everything going their way. I thought Franz Bolsey moved right under him.
Darrell Walker will inbound. It's Walker, Cooper, Wigington, along with Gaze and Bolsey. Leading scorer for Seton Hall and traveling. We'll turn it over to UNLV. Andrew Gaze with 17. P.J. Carlissimo looks like he's on the losing end.
He is. The other night, the same thing. That's why they're so good. He stays after them. They respond. They don't mind the criticism, the sharp tongue on occasion.
No, not P.J.
Well, he's fine around dinner time, but practice, he's not too good.
Darrell Walker with another fine defensive play. Wigington with Anthony defending. Draws the foul, but Darrell Walker on the defense. And if Seton Hall can hold their lead, Bill Raftery, this would be a great story in the Final Four. And Jerry Tarkanian sees the handwriting on the wall.
And the reason I believe the head is down is Anthony just did not play up to his norm. Look at him. He's labored as he's trying to catch up to Pookie. Just can't get there. Wise use of the body, taking away the running lane and using the rim.
Well, he left in a wheelchair the other night after the victory over Arizona with a sprained knee and ankle. And, of course, he didn't even take part in the shootout this morning. And the fact that he played and started is a big plus, but he's not 100% against a very tough team. And as you said at the very beginning, his defense at the point guard position, not so much the other part, is key.
Well, it breaks everything down if he can beat the point guy, get into the middle, and of course then the guy can kick it off. So a real faulty perimeter defense has hurt Tark, and he'll do a little munching on that towel the next 5:30.
Hunt, who committed the foul, has 4. So Hunt and Butler each with 4 for UNLV. 5:34 to go. Gerald Green will return to the game, and Pookie Wigington limps off. Leland is his given name, and going to the bench, might have been shaken up.
Great personality.
Clint Rossum with a 2-point basket.
Pookie's had the leg operated on it. It's been a problem all year. He didn't practice yesterday with it. They try and rest him as much as possible.
Full court pressure by UNLV for the first time today. Seton Hall is unfazed. Gaze with 17, including 3 3-point baskets. Tied up momentarily, but gets out. Very savvy player, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Heady, goes without it, dribbles when he has to, takes exactly what they give.
Foul is on Greg Anthony. That's 3 on him. And Seton Hall is on the free throw line. And, you know, if this game were a lot closer, Seton Hall would have a big edge also going down the free throw line, because in the last 4 minutes of games, they are at 84% and even better than that during the tournament.
Essential, as you know, in tournaments. They foul you, put you to the line, you're tired, you got to relax and nail them.
What do you think about Syracuse and Missouri, or Syracuse and Illinois, I should say, tomorrow?
I would like to be there, to be honest with you. An open type of game, terrific performers on both sides. Again, you mentioned free throw shooting. Syracuse has to shoot them well, I think, in that game.
And Duke and Georgetown.
Ooh. 2 different defensive philosophies, both effective. I think Duke's going to have to take away the running game.
Hunt misses outside, the rebound by Cooper. There may be a lucky star over Georgetown these days, the way they've survived.
And I understand Charles Smith has felt poorly all during the last week, and that's a struggle for them if he's not up to his ability.
77-53, the Seton Hall Pirates, who have never reached the round of 8 ever. Last year was their first appearance in the NCAA tournament, are headed for the Final Four. A great story out of South Orange, New Jersey, for a team that couldn't even compete in its own conference a few years ago.
And proof, if you believe in the coach and you stand behind him, he can get the job done. It's great to see.
Green, Volsey, there they are, pounding the boards again. And steps called against Seton Hall.
I think it may be the other way. Things have been going their way all game.
Boy, you know, it's almost like we say, well, maybe this call will go in the way of UNLV, but not to be. Barry Young has returned to the game, and Anderson Hunt goes out for the Rebels. There's Frank Volsey.
Boy, faulty defense the second half, breaking down inside. That's not typical UNLV D.
Young with a three-pointer. Barry Young, Jerry Tarkanian said, I'll get mad at him when he passes the ball. That's how good he is as a shooter.
He and Anderson Hunt have the green light.
3:50 to go. Cooper throws the ball away. Floppy play that time as Walker couldn't get in there, and Cooper bounced it. So with 3:47 to go, it's 79-56.
You know what Carlosimo asked me before the game? Is there an awards ceremony that we have to stay for? Now, is that confidence? And I said to him, I said, you're asking me. The only way I got here is through television.
They've been on the road a long time. They were in Tucson, stayed out west, came to Denver, but they're going to be going home before they go to Seattle if they hold on and win. Gay's committing his second personal foul.
There's the communication right there. He said to Andrew, why foul him out there? Gay's, for one of the few times all tournament, not using his head.
45-25 is the scoring in the second half. Seton Hall, as West Point went on a 14-0 run. Anthony misses the first free throw.
Watch out, D!
And 1 out of 2. $79-57. Gerald Green. 3:25 to go on Volsey.
You'll find out Vegas now. Look at them out trying to deny, trying to pressure. Seton Hall obviously hold the ball, run it down, or get the easy run.
Morton gets not quite easy, but they'll take it. 6 points for Morton.
You got to accelerate upwards a little bit to release that ball.
If someone had told you before the game that Ramon Ramos would not score, would you say that Seton Hall might not win the game?
I'd say they'd have an early spring vacation.
Off the board is Augman. Stacey Augman played a brilliant game, if you did not see it, and a scintillating defensive performance against Sean Elliott Thursday night. Ran out of gas. Has not scored in the second half, has only 6 points in the game, and Gaze has burned them for 19.
Well, Dave Gavitt in the audience, the commissioner of the Big East, has to be delighted. He meant so much to Seton Hall getting in the Big East Conference, and of course, P.J. Carlosimo and his club bringing the program up to this level. A fantastic job by him, courtesy of the administration and, of course, Dave Gavitt's support as well.
Anthony with the 4 fouls and the looseness of the Seton Hall bench. Now, Seton Hall moves on here, and Georgetown and Syracuse still alive. It's conceivable that 3 Big East teams could make it to the Final Four, as we saw in 1985 when Villanova, Georgetown, and St. John's went in, and maybe the most dramatic of all Final Four championships with the Wildcats upsetting Georgetown.
In Lexington. Exciting. That was a perfect basketball game by Villanova. Today, Seton Hall absolutely took it to Las Vegas on the defensive end. Took away all of Tark's inside game, and obviously we're ready for the 3-point perimeter game.
One free throw, and it's 82-57. 2:38 remaining. A 3-point attempt is missed by Greg Anthony, and the rebound by Seton Hall. The Pirates are headed for their 30th win of the year. They did better once in the 50s when they got to the NIT.
Of course, Richie Regan was the coach then. And
31 then.
Walter Dukes was their great player as well.
He was their first real All-America star, Walter Dukes, 7-footer.
Of course, Richie Regan was the athletic director and coach at Seton Hall.
Right. Dukes, a 7-footer at the age when you didn't have many of them.
Right. Pretty good rebounder as well. Good use of the clock here. Vegas not in the shape at this altitude that Seton Hall has been because of the depth.
That's the story. Pure and simple. Great depth by not only people coming in and contributing, but performing in a big way. Avent with 11, Cooper 10, Volsey with 9, all from the bench.
Great numbers.
Young missed. Walker with another rebound. Walker has 15 rebounds, 35 rebounds in the NCAA tournament in the games thus far.
The silent warrior for Seton Hall.
Yep.
The little things.
Both teams are going to empty their benches with 1:25 to go. 82 to 57.
Good flick.
And Stacey Augman, who should make the all-tournament team.
That wasn't as awesome as the dunk the other night, but he should. He guarded Elliott so well.
So Seton Hall winding down. The Big East will advance, and for UNLV, they know they've got a good young team in the future. We said Clint Rossum, the only senior on the squad, so Stacey Augman, only a sophomore. Hunt, the hero against Arizona freshman. The big junior college star Johnson coming in. Good future for UNLV.
Well, Tark always gets good players and coaches them so well. The happy parents and the acknowledgement. They feel it's over.
That's a great, great shot.
Family of 10. You think you got to the table early in that group?
Andrew Gay scored 19 points, including 3 from three-point range. Seton Hall going to the Final Four, and for Andrew Gaze, who has been to the Netherlands, Greece, Spain, and Italy, he has never been to Seattle.
And he's going to heaven in Seattle, the Final Four.
1 minute remaining in the game. So the third-seeded Seton Hall Pirates only found out what it was like to get into the tournament last year.
And PJ played it down this year. Back home, he never said anything in that New York, New Jersey area. All the clips we got, we're going to the tournament, we're not going to get excited about any win. They had big ambitions.
And he told us yesterday that in the very beginning in the Alaska shootout, early before the season got underway, he says that's when we knew we had a team.
He knew he had something. He said the practices were so demanding that he realized that he had a lot of people to play, particularly up front.
Young missed the shot out of bounds. Seton Hall has Trevor Crowley, number 21 in the game. Katsikas, who had been in early, is there. And Jose Remimbas. So Seton Hall, the second entry into the Final Four. Michigan won early in the Southeast region, beating Virginia handily. And Seton Hall broke open a close game, and Jerry Tarkanian will have to be satisfied, if that's the word, with a 29-8 year at UNLV. They're going to be going wild in the metropolitan area in New York City and in South Orange, New Jersey, and all of that area.
And rightfully so. It's been a long time.
Cooper. Hitting the shot is Remimbas.
Jose Remimbas.
And it looks like Lois Tarkanian understands reality here. Sijanovic comes back and hits the shot with 11 seconds to go.
And look at Pookie lying there with the ice on his leg. Great, great effort.
So Seton Hall beat Indiana and UNLV here at McNichols Arena in Denver, Colorado, and the Seton Hall Pirates of the Big East have advanced to the Final Four as Jerry Tarkanian congratulates P.J. Carlesimo. UNLV had a game season. They knocked off Arizona, the #1 seed in the semifinals. And Seton Hall has beat the Rebels today, 84 to 61. The happy parents. Had 19 points to lead Seton Hall. Greg Anthony led UNLV with 16. Never easy to lose one of these when you've come this far and you know you're one game away, but for the winners, They need 2 more games, and a national championship is within the grasp of the Seton Hall Pirates. Billy, they really put it away in the last 14 minutes. The Pirates outscored the Rebels 38-16 to win convincingly.
Well, you mentioned only players and coaches know the dejection of a loss as monumental as this for UNLV, but the euphoria of a win, bringing a program, and these kids came in, they struggled early in their career. This is the culmination of a lot of work and effort by players, coaches, and administration for Seton Hall.
Rutgers, of course, has reached the Final Four in the past, but not many schools from New Jersey. This may be only the second.
Of course, Princeton years ago with Dollar Bill Bradley, who's certainly gone on to some success.
Princeton got to the Final Four. So that's the story here in Denver, Colorado. Seton Hall advances to the Final Four. The Big East over the Big West captures the regional championship 84-61. A happy bunch of Pirates, and they have found a treasure. So Bill Raftery, Dick Stockton will send you right back now to New York and Jim Nance. Jim?
CBS, the CBS special Bugs Bunny Easter Funnies coming up tonight. Also, TV 101 and West 57. And right now on that note, let's take you back to Denver, Colorado, and Dick Stockton with some post-game interviews.
DJ Carlissimo, congratulations on a tremendous, heartwarming victory. I know you want to talk about the game, but the picture of you and your parents at the end of the game may be the most dramatic we've seen of the tournament.
Well, you don't want to get too personal, but for me, that's the most special thing about it. When you can make your parents happy, that's the best thing you can possibly do.
You know, DJ, Ramon Ramos carried you all year. They finally did it for him.
Well, we've been saying all year that this is a real balanced team, and we have a real deep bench, and tonight we show it.
Hello, Mom. Hey, Coach. Unbelievable. Easy. Your guys did a great defensive job, and one of the premier coaches in the country.
Well, our kids just, all year, you know, people keep saying we're the underdogs, but we've played a good schedule, and we've done a great job, and they keep playing defense every time. That's what counts.
All right. Congratulations. You know, this is the first time we've had a whole team here, and the whole team deserved to be here. That's the story. Seton Hall wins. Let's send you back to Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, Dick Stockton, thank you very much. So today we've seen 2 3 seeds win their regional championships and advance on to the Final Four. We'll come back, talk about the MVPs from this game as we continue on CBS after this. Let's take a look now at the brackets after today's action. Michigan and Seton Hall, as we know now, have advanced on to Seattle. And you see the Wolverines will play the winner of the Illinois-Syracuse game tomorrow, and Seton Hall will take on the winner of the Georgetown-Duke finale in the East. So Big Ten and Big East advancing on, and again, both teams will have, or both conferences will have teams in action tomorrow. Actually, the Big East with 2, Syracuse and Georgetown, while Illinois will be there to represent the Big Ten.
All right, let's hand out post-game honors. Chevy MVP for UNLV, David Butler with 15 points. A big mistake by the Reading Rebels, not going to him enough in the second half. And for Seton Hall, the junior forward, Andrew Gaze, with 19 points.
As we continue on CBS, we'll set the lineup for tomorrow right after this. And we'll have our coverage of the World Figure Skating Championships, including the ice dancing competition. Then we'll resume our coverage on the road to the Final Four at 1:30. Our game coverage tomorrow begins about 1:50 with the Midwest Regional Final, Syracuse and Illinois. That's the Midwest Final, and then that'll be followed by the East Regional Final between Duke and Georgetown. So Seton Hall and Michigan have advanced on to the Final Four in Seattle. We'll look forward to having you back with us tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say. Don't forget tonight, Bugs Bunny, Easter Funnies coming your way. For James Brown, I'm Jim Nance. That's all, folks, for now.